go straight into prayer. God, I just pray for these next few minutes. You just calm my nerves, just hide me behind the cross and let your words come out, not mine. I don't want to go by my understanding. I just want to go by yours. Help me deliver this message that you've given me today, God, and just let me be able to reach somebody that's out there today. And just, I pray for Pastor that you just be with him right now, God, and just thank you for allowing me to do this tonight. I just want to continue to walk in the steps that you've got me, God. Just help me and be with me, and just let your presence be felt tonight, God. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. All right, so before I start today, I just want to give a little background of like how Mr. Anthony was saying, how I got here and what happened and how God saved me. So growing up, I didn't really, I didn't go to church. It's just something my parents didn't make me do. So like growing up, I just didn't know what was said, what was going on. So I just lived my life as a kid, and then middle school came around. It was my first time ever attending church. I didn't know what it was, didn't know what was being said. I was at such a young age and with lack of knowledge that I didn't know who God was. I didn't know what he was about. And so I went for a few times through middle school, and then high school came, and I just got distracted by things I shouldn't have been getting distracted by. I started seeking things that I shouldn't have. I let that high school get to me, that it just got to me. I let it take over what I was supposed to, or take over what I was and who I was supposed to be. And there was a time about a few years ago where I really became depressed, and I really lost everything I had, and I thought God took it from me. I thought everything that was supposed to be was my life, but he took it from me, and I got mad. There was a time I turned my back away bad, and I just started doing things I shouldn't have, started drinking, started partying, and I just lost myself. I didn't know which way to go, and I got real lost one night, and this is the last time I ever drank, ever partied in my life. I got real lost one time. I just didn't know what to do, so I remember laying on my back, and I was looking up to the sky, and I said, God, get me to tomorrow, and I promise I'll do anything that you want me to do. I will no longer run from you. I'll do whatever you have. Not even 5 minutes later, this was a long time. About 5 minutes later, my best friend called me. And I haven't spoke to him in months, in like 6-7 months. I haven't said a word to him. He called me. He said, brother, it's been heavy on my heart to just ask you and invite you to this church, because God's telling me that you just need help and you need guidance. And he offered that to me. He said, brother, just come this Sunday. Come and just feel it out, see how it goes, and go from there. So he's on the phone, and I hadn't responded yet, and he goes, brother, you there? Are you there? You saying nothing? And I hung up the phone. Didn't say not a word to him. And I hung up the phone, and I looked up, and I said, man, God, that was quick. That was quick, not even 5 minutes. I'm asking you to save my life, and you answered quick. So that was on like a Tuesday. It was that Sunday morning. I woke up, and it was about 10 o'clock, and I was like, man, I'm going to have to go. So I called him. I said, hey, what's the address to this? And he gave it to me. And I showed up, not knowing what to expect, not knowing what I was getting into. And I remember that day. I don't remember what the exact message was, but I know it was for me. I was sitting in that first chair, bawling my eyes out. He just moved real quickly in my life. He started getting my vision. He started getting my attention. And that night I went home, and I opened up a Bible, and it came across Daniel 3. In Daniel 3, I'm going to read from verse 21 through 25, but the whole story is that this king Nebuchadnezzar, he had an image of gold. He created an image of gold that he had, and he called all the people around him to come and worship this image. He called them, he said, I created this image of gold. Everyone that should be here, and they should be on their knees, and they shall worship what I have set, what I have created, the image that I have. And there was 3 men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, that was there, and they said, if you don't worship my image, then you shall be in the same hour thrown in the fire pit. And so when the music sounds, everyone is to fall on their face before them and worship this image. But when the music sounded, those 3 people didn't. They stopped and just stood on their feet, and they didn't do nothing. Nebuchadnezzar became really mad, really frustrated, and he said, called them 3, why are you not worshiping my image that I created? Why are you not worshiping what I created? And he goes, well, I serve a God or I'm going to serve a God. I'm not going to serve anybody else. I'm not going to worship anybody else if I'm not supposed to. I worship what my God is. I worship what he tells me to do. And Nebuchadnezzar got even more mad, and he said, well, I'm going to get the most mighty man I have. I'm going to tie you up, and I'm going to throw you in the fire pit. And it's going to be exceedingly 7 times hotter than ever before. And he goes, well, God, I got a God that will get me out of it. I got a God that can. I serve a mighty man.
Come on, man. Come on.
So he goes, all right, gets mad, throws him in there. A few moments later, the king rises, and there's 4 men in the fire, not 3. There's 4. And he looks like a son of God.
Come on, man. Come on, brother. Come on, brother.
Let me tell you, most people in this story, they just see that God delivered them. He got them out of the fire. They don't realize that he's walking down there with them. It says the pit is 7 times harder than ever. But God said, no, not today. He said, no, I'm going to get y'all out. And he walked them out. And in my life, when I was doing those things, when I was living in sin, I was so stuck. I was in that fire pit, but I wasn't bound up. I walked myself into it. I dumped myself into it.
Come on, Lord. Wow. Come on, Lord. Come on, Jesus. Give it to him, Jesus. Give it to him.
So when I was in sin, I serve a God so mighty that he doesn't, when I'm living in sin, when I was doing those things I shouldn't have been doing, I was down there, I was stuck, and I called on his name. And luckily I serve a God that is so powerful that he doesn't stay on the mountain when I'm in trouble. He's down there with me. He's walking there with me.
Come on, brother.
My God said that day, he said, I'm going to grab your hand, I'm going to grab it, and I'm going to walk you out. I'm going to give you my thoughts. I'm going to give you my mind. I know.
Come on, brother. Jesus, give it to him.
He walked me out that day.
Yeah, come on with it.
And that promise I fulfilled, that he told me, he said, you're going to start serving me. And I look back at it, and I never thought I'd be where I'm at today. I never thought that he would be able to bring someone to where I'm at today from what I've done. And that's the thing, like, we live so careless sometimes. And we live like we can make mistakes, and we can because God can forgive us. But one thing I will never do, I will never be satisfied of where I'm at with Christ. Because if we become satisfied, then we become non-moving. We don't move no more. And if you're not moving, you are dying. If you're not moving forward, you aren't doing anything. There's always more things to do. I will never be satisfied of where I'm at with God because I can always pray more. I can always give more. I can always go out and I can do more things because God tells me to do these things. I'm going to be obedient to him. So if I'm not doing these things, I'm going against God. I'm not going to turn my back on God again. I'm not doing that to my God. My God's too powerful. My God's too caring and too loving for me to just stop what I'm doing and not do anything at all. I'm going to continue to do what I'm supposed to do because God's telling me to do it.
Come on with it. Come on, brother.
And just like these 3 men, their faith was so strong that they weren't worried when they were down there. Their faith was so strong that they said, I could call on my God and they can get me out.
Come on with it.
I'm not questioning my faith ever again. Because if he can do that, and he's brought me from where I'm at, then I ain't got to worry about my next battle. I ain't got to worry about what's going to happen to me tomorrow, because I know who holds tomorrow. I know what can happen tomorrow because it's his hand on my life. He's guiding my every step. He's doing what he needs me to do.
There you go. Come on, brother.
Just like that serpent in the garden, just like in the book of Genesis with Adam, when God comes down in the cool of the day to talk to him every day, he goes down there and he says, Adam, where are you at? I can't find you. And it's not because he didn't know where he was. He just couldn't see him as who he intended him to be.
Right.
When I was doing those things, I wasn't who God intended me to be. I didn't even know who God was back then, but he still knew the purpose for my life.
Right. Yes.
He still knew what I was supposed to be doing. And when I did those things, I started to think that day that I didn't answer Austin, that I was also not just hurting him and his feelings, but I was hurting God because I didn't say anything back.
Yeah.
I was hurting God because I turned my back and I just didn't say anything. I wasn't doing the right things. God feels everything we do because he was flesh at one point as well.
Sure.
He feels when we hurt. He feels when we cry. He does it with us and he walks with us when we do it. So when I'm walking around in my garden, I'm not no longer tempted by the serpent. I'm no longer listening to what the devil is trying to do to me. Because in John 10:26, John 10:27-28 says that my sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me. For I will give them everlasting life, and they will not perish. And no man can deliver them out of my hand. No matter who comes against me, I'm not going out of God's hand.
You go right.
No matter who, every day we get tried. Every day someone talks against us.
Speak.
But that's when we have to come back, and I pray to God every day that I have the wisdom to answer that correctly. I have the wisdom to be like, well, my God tells me to do something, I'm going to do it. My God isn't worried. I don't care about what other people think about me. I don't care about what they say about me. I don't care about if I dress differently than they do. I care about what God thinks about me. I care about what He tells me to do. I'm no longer lost because I have Jesus in me.
Right.
I'm no longer tempted by the alcohol that I used to chase after. I'm no longer tempted because 2 Samuel 22 verse 2, God is my rock.
Right.
He is my fortress. He is my deliverer. I'm no longer worried about those things anymore. I don't need those things anymore. Because of every battle I go through, I'm no longer worried about what goes on. I'm no longer worried about who comes against me. Because in the midst, if you put God first, in the midst of your fire, in the midst of your storms, it'll be the freest you'll ever feel.
Yeah.
Because you no longer have to worry about the devil coming against you. You no longer have to stress about, man, I hope I don't fail God today. It says in the Bible, a righteous man falls 7 times daily, and he's righteous. I beat myself up if I fail once. I don't like to fail God because it's displeasing. I do what that God tells me to do.
Come on with it.
Children, obey your father, obey your parents, for this pleases God.
Right.
So I'm going to be obedient every day. My walk with God, I'm going to be obedient to what He tells me to do. And I hope that it opens somebody's eyes tonight that if you're going through something, call on God. He'll always be there. He's just waiting for you to call on Him. He was waiting for me to call on Him. And just be open, because He'll use other people to get to you. Just like Austin with me. He used Austin to get to me. He used him and got me to this church. I'm so thankful, and I love every single one of you because y'all took me in open arms. And just you could feel the presence of God in this church. I'm so blessed. My biggest blessing was God dying on a cross for me. Because that gave me a second chance to walk with Him. It gave me a second chance to do right. Because I want the mind of Christ. I want to walk like Him. I want to talk like Him. I want to love like Him. I want to do all things like Him. And we have to do that. We have to be one with God in order to do that.
Amen. You go, buddy. Amen.
We have to be one with Him.
Give Him the word, Father.
There's not a day that goes by that I don't thank God for giving me another chance. There's not a day that goes by that I ask for forgiveness because I fail daily. There's not a day that goes by that I don't fall before my face before God and just thank Him for everything He's done in my life. Because I know my God is so powerful that He can do anything. He can move mountains.
Amen.
I just want to say, I guess I'd say He hasn't given me nothing else. Thank you, Jesus.